Today I'm looking at one of the weirdest and grossest figures I've ever reviewed on this channel. I'm kind of afraid to actually take this cover off this box, but I think we have to do it. Because today on this channel we're taking a look at PremiumDNA's Madballs figures, and this one right here is Bruise Brother. Ugh, okay, let's get into this video. Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and today we're taking a look at a smaller toy company doing some really big things, and that's PremiumDNA. I actually met these folks for the first time during New York Toy Fair 2023 and got to tour their booth and see some of what's already out and some of what's coming later on this year and in 2024. And they've got some really cool stuff, so if you want to see that, I recommend you check out that Toy Fair coverage we've got on this very channel of them. But today we're taking a look at one of the toys that's already out there and available to buy, and that's from the Madball series. Now, Madballs was one of those lines that I was very aware of as a kid, but it wasn't anything I was like really into. I was never a fan of the really serious, gross out kind of toys or that kind of thing. Sure, I had my share of Garbage Pail Kids cards here and there, but not a lot, because yeah, for me, I just wasn't into that kind of thing. Fast forward to modern times, now PremiumDNA is doing their really cool action figures, and I gotta say, while I'm still quite disgusted by them, I'm also very curious about seeing how these things are. So let's talk about this packaging real quick here. And the first thing I should mention is that this is actually inside a green mailer, which has a lot of different illustrations of the Madballs there, as well as a great big Madballs logo on the front. And that artwork is repeated throughout that entire slipcover that you're seeing here. So if you've seen it on one side, you're gonna see it on all the others. But it's a nice little way to protect your figure and make it feel a little bit more classy, which is a weird thing to say when talking about Madballs. But the real grossness begins once you slide that slipcover off of it and you see this figure right away with a great big window. There's no pretense here. PremiumDNA is just getting right into things and showing you exactly what this figure looks like for all of its grotesque glory. Besides the window letting you see the figure, you can also get a peek at some of the accessories hiding behind him, because this figure has a pretty fair share of those. And we also have a big logo on the front with this character's name and an image of the Madball that it's inspired from. In this case, this is Bruise Brother, and he is a Madular action figure because his body parts are interchangeable with other Madballs action figures. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any other Madballs figures today to check that out and see how that transfer works, but I'm going to take their word for it because I do love a good modular, or in this case, Madular figure, and that's a pretty cool bonus point to have for this guy. On one side of the box, you have an illustration of Bruise Brother from head to toe looking real gross, which is going to be a word that if you play a drinking game with in this video, you will probably not make it to the end. And on the opposite side, you have a look at the three other characters in this line. So just to let you know who's in this Madball wave, it includes Splitting Headache, Oculus Orbis, Hornhead, and who we have today, Bruise Brother. The back of the box has a real classic sort of toy action figure feel, where it's very simple, but not in a bad way at all. So besides once again showing us a great big image of the toy who we're going to be looking at today, we have images now of the other figures who are in this line who I already mentioned, and they do look really cool. As much as I might not like looking at them, I can admit that they're really awesome to see. Especially that Oculus Orbis, I mean, that one is just so disgusting, I kind of love it. We also get a rundown of the accessories that Bruise Brother has, and outside of that, that's pretty much it. There's really no other information here besides just letting you know that Madballs are freaky fun for everyone. Everyone unless you're me, who is easily grossed out by things. So, with that said, let's go ahead, unbox our Bruise Brother here, and take a closer look at him from all angles, while I try not to pass out. Alright, so here's our Madballs Bruise Brother out of the box. Let's go ahead and give you guys a quick rotation so you can see how this figure looks from all hideous looking angles. Man, this is going to be it's going to be a review, alright folks. I'm not prepared for all the gross goriness on this one here, so viewer discretion is advised, especially to any younger viewers who might not want to see this sort of thing, but even adult viewers. Madballs are a pretty weird, gross, unpleasant looking toy, so you've been warned. That's about the most I'm going to say about it. And we're going to get into some pretty close detail with all those weird looking bits as we move on here. So we're going to just finish this rotation, then we're just going to start with the head and work our way down and talk all about this figure, because in spite of it being so disgusting and grotesque, it's still a pretty nice looking action figure and definitely has some talking points worthy of our attention. So let's kick things off here with this head, as I mentioned, and man, Bruise Brother is gross. So I think he's meant to be essentially like a biker, and you can definitely see that here. He's got his motorcycle helmet on, he's got his eye patch, which is perfect for riding a motorcycle in just about every state, isn't it? And he has definitely seen some better days. I mean, he's definitely got a little bit of a leak going on there. I would assume he's been in some kind of horrible, horrific accident, but hey, if you're going to make an action figure of someone, why not do it after they've crashed into something? So, the faces on these guys are very cartoony, and that's very much a throwback to the original Madballs that you would have gotten back in the day. So, it has a lot of good sculpting detail, and certainly an upgraded paint job to what you would have had back when you first bought the originals. I mean, it's gross, but it's really nice that you got this level of detail if you're somebody who's into this kind of thing here. So, for example, we can talk about, on one of the lighter sides, how nice and weathered the different beard texture is and how it's painted two tones. That's actually pretty nice looking. That's about as nice as it's going to get, though, because then we got his gnarled looking teeth. We have these massive scars going across his face that are stapled together, one on that side, one on this side. He's leaking pus. He's got a safety pin holding him in. There's a wart on his nose. I mean, that's really the least of his worries, isn't it? And then he's got some literal brain damage happening, as he got like a giant hole in this part of his helmet that is just leaking blood. And likewise, too, he got it from behind as well. I would assume these are probably bullet holes, because I don't know what else they could be, but he certainly looks like he hit the road, and he hit it pretty hard if he wasn't his bike. So a lot of pretty gross things there. I mean, even over here, I'm pretty sure that this little spike thing is meant to have been driven through the side of his head, or at least maybe it's part of this pipe that's going over here. So yeah, there's a lot of gross elements off the bat, but hey, he's got a nice skull and crossbones. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's not as gross, relatively speaking. Yeah, even the eyes. I mean, you can't escape the grossness anyway here. I mean, because he's got these big old purple bags under his eyes that match his very purple, dehydrated lips, and then his eyeball looks like it's just practically ready to pop out of its head. You know, honestly, I'm kind of grateful he's got that eye patch on there because I don't want to know what the heck is under there. But in spite of how hideous this looks, it is admittedly a very nice sculpting job, and it's really well painted. I can't deny that. I mean, even the blood effect, you know, it's got a glossier kind of look to it, so it's more shiny and looks almost more realistic compared to the rest of it. And really, any of the blood spots that you're going to see in him, or really any of the blood cracks, lines, I don't know what you want to call it, but any of the blood markings you're going to see in him are done with a shinier paint, so it does look a lot more realistic, and it helps it pop out a little bit more. You know, that's kind of the thing about cartoony looking blood, is it always does really come at you and look so much more vivid than the real thing. So in this toy here, they're not shying away from any of that. And if that's the kind of thing that you're into, oh man, you are gonna be happy here. So let's go ahead and start moving down. Let's talk about this body now, which is equally as gross. I mean, look at this giant scar. It's almost like he's Sagat from Street Fighter 2, except he's stapled together. I'm grateful that his nipple piercing has not yanked off his body either, because I definitely wouldn't want to see that exposed and gross. We have this nice bandolier of bullets across him as well, which does not appear to have any way to take off of him as far as a latch or anything, but you know, I don't know if the head comes off. It feels like it may or may not. I mean, considering he's modular, then the answer is yes, his head probably does come off, and we might try that later on a little more in depth, but that's going to be, I assume, how you get this bandolier off for the purposes of customization. And this bandolier, by the way, very nice, has some solid texture patterns in there. Bullets are cleanly painted. That's another important thing, too. The bullets are all very nicely painted, individually done, and there's like no silver paint slop hiding anywhere, so I give some real points for that. Check this out over here. I mean, I don't know what's happening on this side of his body, but he's got something stapled to him. So yeah, this guy is just a hot mess. Really, I shouldn't really emphasize the hot part. He's definitely just a messy mess. I mean, look at these gnarly scars that are just open all over him. That is some gross stuff. I do appreciate that he's got some classic biker tattoos. He has Mom on this shoulder. And on the other side, just got yourself a classic motorcycle gang tattoo. And as for his legs, I mean, even those are not exempt from the grossness. You got his exposed toes there, leaking some toe jam that looks like it's seen better days. And you got a bloody tip to his shoes, or his boots, I should say. From behind, the boots are actually kind of cool looking. They're kind of classy and nice, right? Although not so classy is his exposed butt cheek there. All this stuff looks pretty good. Of course, you can't ignore his hands either, and how those also don't look too great. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. Yeah, those hands are looking quite gross and possibly infected, considering how he's looking. So, yeah, you know, again, if you're somebody into this, you must be foaming at the mouth. If you're somebody like me, I'm just crying on the inside. But, you know, I still can look at this unbiased and say that, you know what, as much as I might not be into it, it's still pretty darn cool looking, and hats off to the PremiumDNA guys for finding a way to translate this kind of character into a very cool looking action figure. And another real high point about Bruise Brother and all the Madballs figures is their articulation is very good. There's a lot of ball joints, which you can see as you're watching this video here, starting with the head, which has, look at that, great range of motion, and there's no blow dryer needed for him, no hair dryer needed to loosen up the joints. He's just going right to town immediately. I mean, considering how he looks, I'm not surprised that he's able to move himself a lot easier. He's got all his bones already broken. We got ball jointed shoulder and a ball jointed elbow on both of his arms there. Looking very nice, good range of motion. The wrists can rotate, and yes, they can also flex. So there you go, you quit hitting yourself, quit hitting yourself, quit hitting yourself. We do have a chest section that can move as well. I was actually worried that this bandolier was going to get in the way of him being able to move that, but no, it actually moves freely. There's no waist rotation, so that basically is in lieu of the waist rotation. But we do have ball jointed legs. This is about as far as they can go, because the way he's shaped, it's not really the most conducive to getting high kicks or anything like that. Likewise, same to the front angle. We have a single joint knee that mostly just rotates, and likewise too, the boots can rotate and flex. So, you know, pretty good articulation, all things considered, for a toy of this size and the way this guy looks. That's a very welcome surprise, and that should make a lot of you figure collectors very happy, because you can't get him in necessarily like super dynamic poses, but he can pose, and that's a big plus for him. Now here's something I definitely didn't expect, and that's how many accessories Bruise Brother has. So off the bat, you get 6 additional hands for a total of 8 hands, including what he currently has on him. And that's a good range of hands here. So some hands are meant to hold specific accessories, others are for certain poses. I mean, like this come hither pose could be used for other things as well, but yeah, and again, all hands are equally gross. They all have their giant slits across them with their leaky, gooey, vivid blood. But yeah, lots of different options there, and that's going to be perfect for what his next accessories are, which is a ton of wonderfully grotesque weaponry. Yeah, there's no getting around this stuff. He has seen some combat, and you know, this is why you aren't going to be able to find these toys in stores, because this is some really hardcore weaponry right here. So we have this like mace, which is essentially a beehive. This is literally a beehive, because there's like still bees hanging out on it. They're not painted entirely that way, but yeah, they're bees, and that's honey dripping from it, or at least I sure hope that that's honey dripping out of it. I mean, it could be a wasp nest also. I don't really know how to define that, but it is certainly an insect's nest of some kind on a stick used to bludgeon people. It's actually really cool. He also has this nicely sculpted baseball bat with nails coming out of it, which not only has nails, it has teeth and a bite missing out of it. I mean, you know, as much as I want to be grossed out by some of these things, these accessories are hilarious. It's even got a little crushed bug on the handle of it, and this is great. This sculpting is really good here. You know, like, this is where PremiumDNA really shines, is the kind of detail you're getting with these weapons. That looks great. He also has a boxing glove, so he actually has 9 hands total, I guess, technically. This is a boxing glove. It's also covered in some mucus. Presumably it's mucus. Not really sure what else it could be, and I don't want to know. It's even got a few teeth sticking out of it. It's actually got a lot of teeth sticking out of it. It's even got some staples on it. This is some cool stuff. And finally, maybe the least impressive, but still really nice, a very shiny K-bar knife. And we saw that on his back, he actually has a place to hide that in. So I'm going to go ahead and deck him out in some different hands, and let's see how he looks, all dressed up, ready for combat. Let's go ahead and let's start with this hand over here, just see how he looks with his boxing glove on. And that was very easy swap, actually, incredibly easy swap. And like I mentioned, he has a little section in his back that we can slide his knife right on into, just like that. And let's see about getting another weapon into his other hand. Let's do this swap. Let's see how easy this goes. Hopefully the answer is very. I think I want to use the mace. Let's see. I am curious to see how stiff or rubbery his hands are, and okay, they're actually very flexible. They've got some nice flexible plastic on them, so that was actually really easy. And, well, just like that, he's ready to go. I mean, he still looks monstrous and like an abomination, but this actually looks really cool. The fact that he can hold those weapons so easily. That was really no effort to get that stuff all into him. This boxing glove is so gross, but also hilarious. Like, I actually really do like these accessories a lot. it's very much making me feel a little bit less uneasy about just like how monstrous looking this guy is, because let's face it, he really is. But yeah, I mean, check this out, and really good posing I'm getting here. You know, like, he doesn't have amazing articulation, but he still has good articulation, and it's thanks to that we can get him in these very nice poses. I want to see if he can also hold a baseball bat, because the baseball bat has a much larger handle to it. So let us see if this is the right hand even for it. I don't even know if it's going to fit in here, but let's try this out, because it is, okay, let's see, to be fair, this is the only other hand that it could fit into, so I don't know, it might just take some more work to get in there, but it is more or less there, so that's not bad. It's actually not too bad. And now he is the winner. Of what? I don't really know, but yeah, he is definitely a winner. Now, I am curious to see how he scales up with some other figures, because I'm pretty sure he is meant to be in the 112 size. So here he is with a Mattel WWE Legends Ultimate Warrior figure from their recent Target line, most recent one, in fact. And I'll put him next to Emma Frost, because I'm sure she'd love to be next to him. So yeah, you know what? He is sizing up pretty well with 6-inch figures. I'll give him that. He actually fits in with that size pretty well. I'll swap him out and bring in a G.I. Joe classified figure. He's still holding up pretty nicely to that size. And I can get Emma out of there because I'm sure she doesn't want to be next to this guy for much longer. And I'll bring in a Sector's figure from the Nacelle Company as well, which is a really, really pretty figure, actually. I'd much rather look at him than at Bruise Brother, but there you go. He looks pretty decent as far as scaling with other 6-inch figure lines. So, final thoughts on the PremiumDNA Bruise Brother. You know, as much as it pains me to say, it's actually a very nice figure. I just don't like looking at it because it's not my cup of tea, but it is admittedly quite cool. And if it is your cup of tea, or maybe your cup of castor oil, then I can definitely see you getting a lot of mileage for this. As far as a gross figure goes, this is pretty beautiful. And not only that, I mean, it does have really good paint job, excellent execution of that paint, great articulation. The articulation actually surprised me, and not only that, just how well it moved. We didn't actually test the modularness of this figure here, but I will take their word for it. I think that's the kind of thing where maybe you do need to hit it up with a hairdryer a little bit longer. And granted, I don't have any other figures to test it out with, so this might not be the best way to even test it ultimately, but you know, good details, and there's a lot of it here. That's kind of the big thing with these figures, is there's so many little, gross, nasty details that you have to be an excellent company and be on top of those things to make it work. And PremiumDNA, they did that. They have achieved the unachievable and made a gross figure that is quite pretty. If you'd like to pick up Bruise Brother or any of the other Madballs figures for yourself, he is available from a load of online retailers, including Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, and plenty of others. But you can also pick this figure up from one of their new distributors, and that will be the Nacelle Company. And you can do that by visiting thecellstore.com. And there you're going to find not only PremiumDNA action figures, but some other smaller companies, including Wandering Planet Toys, as well as the Nacelle Company's proprietary action figures, like the Sectars, like the Great Garlu, and coming soon, Legends of Laughter and the Biker Mice from Mars. So that's our look at the Bruise Brother from PremiumDNA. And one last look at him I should add, because I'm going to box this guy up and hide him for a little bit so I don't have to keep staring at that mug. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. And we'll see you guys here next time with hopefully some action figures that don't make me feel as sick as this one did. Thanks for watching. Now if you'll excuse me, it's time for me to go and eat.